So, in the high-stakes chess game of world politics, sometimes the most powerful move you can make is bringing a legendary piece back onto the board. Today, we're going to look at why America is doing exactly that, sending a decades-old and, frankly, terrifying aircraft right into the Middle East. Okay, so let's get right into it, because this is the big question, right? In an age of stealth bombers and hypersonic missiles, why would the U.S. military call up an aircraft that's famous for its rugged, almost old-school design? Well, the answer tells us pretty much everything about the current standoff with Iran.
First things first, you gotta understand that the A10's arrival didn't just happen out of the blue. It is absolutely the latest step in a very clear, very deliberate pattern of military escalation.
Let's just walk through how this all built up. First, America sends the USS Tripoli warship, packed with Marines, all the way from Japan. That's a big deal. Then, they brought in the heavy hitters, the B-52 bombers, to strike weapons factories belonging to Iran's Revolutionary Guard. And now, the A-10 Warthog, a specialized ground attack plane, is on the scene. You see the pattern? Each step is a bigger and bigger show of force.
So what's the specific problem that requires such a unique and powerful tool? Well, the answer isn't on the battlefield. It's deep beneath it, inside Iran's underground forts.
This visual just says it all, doesn't it? These bunkers are described as being buried as deep as 2 palm trees. We're not talking about a simple shelter here. These are multi-level, super-fortified underground complexes. They were literally designed to be impenetrable.
And who's hiding out in these underground fortresses? Iran's most elite forces, that's who. We're talking about the Besieged Forces and the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC. They're described as the ideological Khomeini's army. These are deeply committed soldiers, and they're operating from bases that are incredibly difficult to attack.
So, you've got what seems like an indestructible target, and it's housing your adversary's most dedicated forces. That is a massive military challenge. And, a special challenge, well, it requires a very special weapon.
And this brings us right to the heart of the problem. How do you actually attack an enemy that's dug in, maybe 2 or 3 stories underground, living in these reinforced bunkers? I mean, how can those forts possibly be destroyed?
The answer, believe it or not, is basically a flying tank, a legendary aircraft that was purpose-built for one thing: total ground destruction. America's answer is the A-10 Warthog, which officially goes by the name Thunderbolt.
But why this specific plane? I mean, what gives this aging warrior the unique ability to solve this very modern problem? Let's break down exactly what makes the Warthog just so powerful.
You see, the A-10 wasn't built for dogfights or high-altitude stealth missions. Not at all. It was built to get low, to absorb damage, and to deliver an overwhelming amount of firepower right onto ground targets. It's designed for what sources call massive destruction. And its centerpiece is that iconic gay U-8 cannon, a gun that fires shells the size of milk bottles. On top of that, it can carry a truly immense payload of bombs.
And let's put that bomb load into perspective for a second. 4,000 kilograms. That is the weight of explosives the A-10 can carry and drop in a single run. It has the power to carry bombs that can penetrate deep into the earth before they even detonate, which, of course, is exactly what you need to deal with multi-level underground bunkers.
So the Warthog is there. The message has been sent. This moves the whole conflict into a new and, let's be honest, more dangerous phase. And it forces us to ask, what does this deployment signal for the future?
One source summed up the situation with this brilliant metaphor. America is pulling its arrows from the quiver, one by one. This isn't some single rash action. It is a calculated sequence. The warship was one arrow. The B-52 bombers were another. The A-10 Warthog is just the latest and maybe the sharpest arrow to be drawn so far. This calculated escalation leaves us with one final and pretty unsettling question. This deployment is a clear signal, but it may not be the final one. We've seen 3 arrows pulled from the quiver so far, and it leaves you wondering, what arrow will be pulled next?